This is the second lesson in bacteria or prokaryotes. Today we are going to discuss the characters of prokaryotes. This will include the shape, the components of the cell wall, and the movement. About the shape of bacteria. There are three main shapes of bacteria. Spherical shape, we call it cocci. Rod-shaped bacteria, we call it bacilli, and spiral shape, which is known as spirochetes. These three pictures include the three shapes. First one, we call it cocci. The singular is coccus, like a certain bacteria known as staphylococcus. The second shape, bacilli, singular, bacillus, like bacteria called Pseudomonas. This is its shape. The third shape is spirochetes or spirillum, like a bacteria known as spirillum. Another way to classify or differentiate between bacteria is by differentiating between their cell walls, the components of the cell wall. The cell wall of all bacterial cells contain what's called peptidoglycan. This peptidoglycan membrane is formed of disaccharides, and we said before that saccharides are sugars, and peptide fragments. Depending on the amount of peptidoglycans on the cell wall of each bacterial cell, scientists add a certain dye known as gram stain to the cell wall, and according to the response or the color of the dye, they can classify these bacteria into two major types. If the bacteria stained dark purple, it's called gram-positive bacteria, okay? And it's stained dark purple because this bacteria contain large amount of peptidoglycan in its cell wall. If the bacteria stained light pink, it's called gram-negative bacteria, and this is because this bacteria have less peptidoglycan and a thick lipid layer covering the peptidoglycan, which give it a lighter color. So why this is important? Like we see here, this is the peptidoglycan in the cell wall. When it's dense like this make the gram stain get a very dark purple color. If it's covered by a lipid layer that prevent most of the dye to reach the peptidoglycan, it will be stained a light pink color, and it's a gram-negative bacteria. So when we differentiate the bacteria by this dye in the cell wall, this helps the physicians to determine the type of the bacteria and to prescribe the appropriate antibiotic for treatment. We said before that some bacteria are stationary, meaning they can't move, and other can move by a thread filament called flagella, singular flagellum. So flagella are filaments which help the prokaryotes to move toward light, toward higher oxygen concentration, or toward chemicals like sugar or amino acids for nutrition. Another way for prokaryotes to move by gliding over secreted slime, but it's less common.